Hey everybody, I'm here at the shop today. I know it's been a little bit since I posted a video. I've been working real hard trying to get Jerry's car done and finishing up my bracket racing season. I don't know that I might not even be done bracket racing, so I thought I'd give you a little walk around the shop, show you some stuff on Tinwork. I've been doing Tinwork on Jerry's car. Still have to put the front and rear windows in and stuff like that. Just wanted to give you a heads up on what's going on and show you some stuff that I do in regards to doing Tinwork and some of these cars. So here we go. As you can see, firewall's all roughed in. And you can see I got it real tight to the transmission down there. If you look here, you can see Clecos sticking through the firewall. That's where Zeus fasteners will be, or Zeus springs. And then I'll cut a lot of that Tinwork away, so when you go to pull the transmission out, you're not in the bell housing, you're not fighting anything. You just pop the Zeus buttons out, and then you get a wide open hole to work. So, hole for the throttle pedal. There's a hole down there for the steering column to come through. If you notice here, I know it's hard to see, but I step flange all this stuff when I lay it out. You can see there's a little bit of a line there. And then this panel down here, same thing. I do all my step flanging as I'm putting the car together. So, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle because you gotta get all this stuff around there. And I'm gonna try to show you up in here. Up in the top there, I set up my laser and I made a straight line across that's perfectly vertical from that dash bar that runs across right here, and I cut that off and I welded a 3/4 inch flange up there so I had a place to attach my firewall. That's all I do that there. It's a little bit of a chore, but in the end it makes it a lot easier to attach your aluminum to. And over here you can see it's got these pieces in the side because it's wider than 4 foot, and I used a full width 4 foot piece in the middle and then just added to it in the ends because I knew I had to get around those bars. And in the bottom I've got a split. You can see a line there where those lines don't line up. The top one's a marker line on the plastic, so it'll disappear. But the bottom one, you see I got a center line mark on it. That's where my rivet line will be. I wanted my rivet line to line up with the center line of the car, so, and that's step flanged as well. So that's the firewall. You can see here how the starter button holes end up working out. I'm trying to get you in there. I use that piece of tubing and I weld the stainless steel washer on it, and then my rubber covered starter buttons will go on this on each side, so you can crank the engine over to adjust valves and stuff like that. Or if you need to turn it over to work on the clutch, you can just reach up from underneath and hit it. I always used to put a button underneath. They're only like 12 inches apart, so it didn't make, more wiring, more expense. It just didn't make much sense to me. So close-up view here, you can see like that's the block saver. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I weld the ears on the block saver to sort of make it like a mid plate to help hold the back of the engine up when you're pulling the transmission and stuff out. Because when you're running a manual trans car like these, you have the transmission and the clutch out of them a lot. So I showed you the radiator. I'll walk around the trunk and show you in the trunk quick. Walk around all this junk laying all over the place. Shop's sort of full right now. I think you can see all this fuel pump mounted, all that stuff. The Tinwork's in, the back firewall's in, all this stuff here. You can see the way it's raised up. That's to clear the springs and shocks and everything else. So then it dropped down and attaches to the tail panel down there. Then I've got some transition pieces there. I'll try to get around the other side so you can see that from the top. So these pieces down in there, they attach to the tail panel and then to the bottom of the quarter, and that's to keep the back end of the car from catching wind. So just cleans it up from underneath. You got to make it high like that so it'll clear the wheelie bars. These cars are high anyway, so wheel tubs, of course. And you see they're silver. There's some pieces in the car you can see up there that are silver. I will paint all those gloss black to match when I disassemble the car. We'll go up front. There's some stuff I want to show you there. In this type of car, I put a rear firewall in it here versus running that back flat on a real long angle. It makes the back Tinwork stronger if you just run that piece up flat and then you try to cut your drive shaft tunnel back into an angle to cope it in there, which I've done before. It makes that panel sort of floppy. So, and then once the tear rivets out and all that stuff, it just doesn't last as long. With this rear firewall in here, it acts like a bulkhead to stiffen everything up. And I step everything like up there. You can see this seam here, it's step flanged as well. Everything I do is stepped. But underneath here, I bend this lip to rivet to. I bend the lip down a ½ inch to add strength here to keep that from wobbling so much. So, and I've got, you can see here I put adapters in to attach all this aluminum too, because you have to be able to rivet it to the other pieces. And I don't like lapping them over here. You can see this is a seam. They're drilled from underneath in that seam. Then in here, I mean, you can see how I've got all this, the Tinwork in here. And you'll notice the masking tape, okay? Like I've got masking tape on this aluminum here and a piece over there. I try not to ever write on anything with a marker. I've got some little spots in here that I'll clean up. But typically, like these spots here, you don't take them off, like clean them up and sand them. And here I didn't have much of a choice because I was trying to step roll it and everything, and you can't step roll through masking tape. But if you're drilling, drawing lines or drilling, try to do it on masking tape, because if this was painted a light color, that stuff will bleed through the paint. After a while, you'll think you got it, and 3-4 months later, it bleeds through the paint. So. And as you'll see here, I've got steel in both sides of the car here, with the exception of the transition pieces for the tunnel. I do this for driver safety's sake. I've had stuff come through the floor before, off the track, and you can only imagine if this stuff hits you in the feet. So these pieces here you can actually put in before you put the body in or the Tinwork. I waited on this one, so, and you'll notice on my master cylinder, see I got a hole in the back, and I stepped that down there as well. What I'll do is I'll make an aluminum piece that will go down in that recess to fill in the gap, but you have to do that to get the master cylinder in and out. And I love these Wilwood master cylinders because the lines will come out either side, and the caps, they're screwed on. They're not like the Chrysler style master cylinders where you can kick the cap off. So these, I really like these cylinders. They are well worth the money. So in the steel up by the clutch linkage, you can see I've got a slot for the brake pedal so far, but I'm still working on this. This piece here will slide out here somewhere, and then I'll cut a slot where this will rotate through the floor when the clutch linkage is off it. And then you can like pull the clutch linkage off and just push the pedal down, and this piece will come out. And like I say, these transition pieces, and you can see this one was a little bit of work. I had to weld a flange on it to clear the linkage and to clear the shifter, and I'll have to fine-tune that a little bit more, but it just basically will come out like this when it's done. And you can see, like way up here, I've got Zeus tabs welded in there where there'll be a button in there, and as you saw the holes here, those will be Zeus buttons, so this will Zeus in. And you can see there how I step this panel back like right here, I step this back so I can get the fasteners inside. It welds to that 1-inch tubing I got, triangulation piece I've got in there. Then when all this stuff's Zeused in, or Zeused out, you can see the transmission, the bell housing will come out real easy. On this here, I haven't step flanged the firewall yet, but I will pull all that out and step flange it. I'll put all the Zeus springs and all the buttons in this stuff to make sure everything works. I usually tip the edge of these pieces, like this transition. I'll tip the edge of that with a bead roller so that it adds a little strength right to the edge. And about that point I'll be done. When I'm putting, like I say, I put all the Zeus fasteners in. I bolt all the parts and pieces in to make sure everything will clear. I still have to stick the steering column in it to make sure it'll go through the hole right. You can see that down through there. I'll make sure all that stuff fits before I disassemble it. That way I'm not doing any cutting and filing on the car after it's powder coated. So, and then once I know everything's where I want it, as you can see, there's no bead rolling in this stuff. There isn't a steel because I welded that in, but in the aluminum I try not to do any bead rolling in that until I'm all done. I want to sort of draw some lines on it to see what looks good. And I also want to make sure that all the bead rolls line up. I don't want them, you know, offset a 1/4 inch or anything else. When it's all put together like this, you can sort of lay it out there on the table as an assembly with Clecos in it and make it look really good. So that's where I'll be after I pull this Tinwork out. But my goal right now is I want to get all this stuff done, all put in. I'm going to bolt all the pieces on it that I have, and then I want Jerry and Karen to come look at this car and make sure they're happy with the way everything's going. So one thing I want to show you here too, when you're doing this, you know, some of the thought you have to put into this. There's the throttle pedal, okay? It has to fit in. You have to make sure that when you're done, the throttle pedal's going to clear the drive shaft or transmission tunnel when you're done. It's going to be about there when it's setting, so I should have plenty of clearance. A little bit tight in this car. You know, the Mustangs are a little narrow, so and you want to try to give yourself some room. And also, I try to line up, you can see the slot there in the firewall. I try to line up that top of the throttle pedal. You can see that there. I try to line that up with the side of the carburetor so nothing's coming on a big angle. So that's about where I am with this car. I wanted y'all to see that. I'll let you know soon. Thanks for watching.